Good morning, everybody. Jeff Beglin here, Brad Percella, and Amber Snyder. We're going to discuss the Agent's Guide to HealthSherpa here at the Individual Corner webinar. I'm on the phone because some issues with my microphone, but it looks like everything's loud and clear. I do appreciate if you guys out there in the broker community, if you want to just send a question, something in the question box attesting to the fact that you can hear us pretty well and that the bandwidth is fine and we don't need to make any changes. If you just want to give me the thumbs up on that, I really appreciate that. And I'll go through a few things here on the Cornerstone side of things. Things are really heating up here in the spring. And so delighted you could join us today for your Agent's Guide to HealthSherpa. You know the drill. If you have a question, you'll put it in the question box. I'm going to jump in periodically and field some of these questions, and Brad will do the same, just to kind of liven things up and, you know, point out things that people have questions about and try to deal with them in real time. Okay, HealthSherpa, I just want to give a quick shout out to HealthSherpa. They are the preeminent enrollment platform for the Affordable Care Act. They are, you know, as you say, the category killer. You know, we like to say that, you know, the vast majority of ACA products are sold through agents. And what's the agent's favorite partner for enrollments, the enrollment tool, the enrollment website? It's HealthSherpa. And boy, they've been around since the beginning. You know, healthcare.gov, going back 10 years. They've got terrific software. They've got a field of reps and plenty of engineers doing software updates all the time. So we really like it. And take it away, Amber.
Didn't you want to say 97% of our brokers use HealthSherpa?
90. I don't know. It could be.
What was that number?
I don't have that stat. The stat, Brad. Yeah. Brad brings up a good point. In terms of agencies, you know, we're in the 97th percentile of agencies using HealthSherpa. So our agents love it, and we're killing it out there. So it's been a great partnership, and it's free. It's free. Okay, so Amber, I'm managing to make you the presenter, and hopefully you can see this pop up on your side.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see it. She's hailing from Florida, and Brad and I are in Chile, Ohio. Whereabouts in Florida are you, Amber?
I am in downtown Tampa, Florida.
Nice.
Love it. I love it.
Nice, beautiful day.
Yes. Okay. Brad, what do you see? Can you see her screen pretty well? I think I can see it pretty well.
Yes, I can. I'm just jealous.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes. All right. Yeah, fantastic. Take it away, Amber.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for having me here. Sorry, your weather may not be as lovely as the Tampa, Florida weather today, but we're inside and that's all right. So I just wanted to thank you guys for having me today. I know we've got a lot of different skill levels and familiarity levels with HealthSherpa. So at any point, if something doesn't make sense, if you have a question, pop it in the chat. We'll kind of do our best throughout the training to answer those in real time. If we can't, I will make sure that we get answers to everybody after the fact. With that, we've got, you know, a ton of different training. So I want to make sure everyone's aware that we do have upcoming live training. We've also got that recorded for you to access at any point. We'll send out kind of the deck with links on this, but everything that you could ever want around training, questions that you might have, you can go to faq.healthsherpa.com and see an article for just about everything, including our upcoming additional training session. So with that, just level set on the agenda, we'll go through some just important settings in your HealthSherpa account, some different insights and reporting that may help you as an agent manage DMIs, any AOR kind of pop-ups, different HealthSherpa resources, and then just a platform overview. And then Q&A at the end as we have time. But first I want to throw up just a kind of new question, a new page that you may be seeing in the application that was launched on March 21st. So now there's a new page that asks about Medicare eligibility of those enrolling on a plan. So to start, it's completely skippable. You do not have to answer this question at all. It's just CMS trying to kind of make it easier for individuals aging into Medicare to do that without having to cancel their plan after the fact, or there be just duplicate coverage, or they have to go back and review eligibility and things like that. So again, it's only asked of those applying for coverage. It's not required. If you kind of click it and save it and continue, it'll show on that client application, but it doesn't do anything until submitted. So once you submit the application, it'll be transmitted kind of over to CMS. And that way, if you're turning 65 in 3 months, instead of having to take additional action, you've already kind of indicated that with your agent on your application. It's going to be kind of handled automatically without you having to call in. So just wanted to call out that is a new kind of page that you may be seeing. And again, totally skippable, but if it applies to a person applying that you're talking to, it's best that you fill that out. But on to some of those important settings. So we'll do kind of a live platform demo here in a minute, but to kind of set the stage for that, I want to go through some of those important settings that you'll see in HealthSherpa. So you may have noticed that if you log into HealthSherpa regularly, you'll not often see the pop-up to enable EDE, but back in July, CMS kind of issued the requirement that you have to enable EDE within HealthSherpa and sync your status to the FFM every 12 hours. So that's important. You can't get updated sync statuses of your client applications or enroll until you get that updated. So we'll look at that shortly. Something else that is in the platform that was launched back in November is called the Enrollee Assistance Program, or EAP. You may have been familiar with our referral program back in the day. That is no longer. The Enrollee Assistance Program takes the place of that, and that allows you to work with a consumer on an application. And maybe it is a carrier or a state that you may not have an appointment with. We'll take care of that. So we'll go through that here shortly in a little bit. And those settings will be located within your carrier settings, which is a really important section within your HealthSherpa account for you to go in and add your licensed states and your appointed carriers to make sure that you get commission credit where you're appointed. And then another important setting that we'll go through as well is kind of your marketing link. And this is that link that you can take and send to a consumer, your neighbor, your friend. They can go through, quote, enroll kind of on their own, but it still comes back under your NPN with you as the agent of record. So we'll take a look at that as well and make sure we get that set up. But within the whole enabling EDE thing, you'll log in. There'll usually be a pop-up. We've got this button that you can see that says enable EDE in this little screenshot here. It'll kind of have a timer. It'll let you know what's, the timeline for you to do that. It's best, if you're planning to be online and utilizing HealthSherpa, to re-up that. Don't wait until you're going to get kicked out and then you're in the middle of an application and you've got to do it again. So keep that updated regularly. Again, Enrollee Assistance Program. So the overview of that is it allows you to maintain a strong relationship with your consumers and those individuals that, you get referred that you can't necessarily help on a normal day without an appointment for that carrier. Well, with the EAP, Enrollee Assistance Program, you can. So we kind of assist you with application submission on that, but in the end, you can still support your customer and get that enrollment through. Carrier settings, again, very important, kind of hidden. We'll go and look at that in a little bit as well, but making sure that is set up correctly for you, again, to quote, sell, and get paid commissions correctly. So carrier settings are very, very important. And then that marketing link, again, it is so helpful to have that set up correctly to see plans and enroll, again, with you as the agent of record. So keep that updated as well. The screenshots here will show you kind of in the top right what your view is when you go and kind of set up your marketing link. You can add colors, photos, you've got a QR code, and that screen here on the bottom is kind of what it'll look like when you share that link with an individual. And with this, you don't have to really do anything. Consent is built into the consumer-driven experience. So in theory, you send that link and they submit on their own. They may have questions, they may reach out to you to answer those questions, but ultimately it is a completely self-service option within your marketing link. Another mention on the EDE sync. So separately from syncing your CMS portal, when you're in a client details page, and again, we'll look at this live in a little bit, you'll be able to see the last time that an application was synced. So you may know that if you go and look just kind of on the client page in your HealthSherpa account, the statuses may be out of date. And that's because CMS does not just automatically push regular updates to HealthSherpa across the board. You would go in, you would be able to refresh that client status. And again, it'll show you the date on there. So today it's April 16th. If I log in and I see last sync to 11, it's kind of out of date. I kind of want to refresh it. So I'll go in, making sure that I, remain to have the consumer's consent and refresh that application. That is important, again, to see most recent updated statuses. So from there, we'll talk about just some different in-platform insights and export reporting settings that you guys can view, again, in the platform and export outside of it. And so the two kinds of things that we've got here insight-wise is just in-platform, you can kind of filter and view on HealthSherpa, or if you've got a bigger book or you've got, quite a bit of DMIs coming up and you want to export that, you're able to have that kind of exported in like a spreadsheet view for you to work out of that way. And so those options that you'll see to do reporting or gain insights on are our at-risk AOR report, and then documents due, which is also those DMI requests. So it may be proof of citizenship, it may be proof of income, things like that will fall under the documents due section. I'm sure everybody loves the three-way call with the marketplace. So with that, we've got an EDE access revoked kind of section to make sure that EDE access is still consented to yours. So kind of in line with the AOR at risk, just making sure that you have that client on your book still. And if access has been revoked, you can report, review on that and see what's going on there. Invalid action error, again, relates to that three-way call. Anytime we talk about the three-way call, it is sometimes referred to as the invalid action error because that is what CMS named it. So you can report out on that. And then the last one that you can see in platform is just renewals. So those upcoming renewals that you may need to put some attention on, make sure your eyes are on. So going a little deeper in that, out of those 5, these 4 listed on the screen now are the ones that are able to kind of be exported out into that spreadsheet view if you're interested. And again, we'll kind of do a live look and check that out a little more here shortly. But getting into the actual kind of options that you can report on within HealthSherpa, we have the AOR at risk list or export. And this just displays agents that are potential AOR swaps within HealthSherpa with the current plan year enrollment. It's not necessarily that it has changed agent of record yet. It's just something that may be at risk. And it syncs that client's application to the marketplace in real time. And that way you can look up the plan, see kind of everything that's going on and make sure everything is kosher, looks right. Or from there, you can contact the customer and move forward with, retaining consent then if needed. But again, that's something that you can view in platform or as an export. The next one is, again, documents due or those DMI follow-ups. It's called 2 different things in 2 different places right now, but we'll fix that. But this one, again, is data matching issues. So it could be anything relating to application information not being consistent or needing those documents due. So very important to make sure that the policy effectuates, everything gets kind of uploaded in a timely fashion. So again, awesome to report out on here. And again, if anyone has any questions, if I'm going too fast, just throw it in the chat. Let me know. I want to make sure that it makes sense and I'm not breezing through. But again, yes, we will kind of look at this live here in a moment as well. But moving on to that ED access or permission revoked report. Again, it helps you as the agent proactively identify those enrollments where your account may not have EDE connection anymore. And it may be because it was a search and claim and it wasn't updated. It may be because another agent engaged with that customer. So this way, again, you can just kind of get eyes on that and identify what's going on. And if there are if there are customers on that list that you want to proactively reach out to make sure that everything is good with them. And then the final one that we'll talk about is the invalid action error tracker. So three-way call, kind of a pain, right? With that being said, HealthSherpa doesn't love that, right? So we rolled out our invalid action resume link, and that's that digital, balloons, we're celebrating because of why not? Sorry about that. The invalid action error tracker just kind of helps you track any application that you went through that you did not do the phone call on, but that you utilized the resume link with, just to make sure that everything is, again, good and kosher, submitted, and that you are the agent of record. So again, super helpful to just look out and report on those to make sure that you keep, your clients on the books. So moving to just some resources available to you guys. Again, my name's Amber. I'm super happy to be here, part of our agency account management team. So anytime Jeff or Brad wants us here, you guys need us, we'll come by. But I'm not the only one. It's a big team over here supporting you guys. So just gonna go through some resources and people that you can contact to help. Again, we'll look at this live here in a minute. But in the top right corner, when you log into your HealthSherpa account, there's that little kind of info icon that you can click on, and it'll show you this kind of list that is zoomed in here. You can check out what's new, by simply just clicking into that update. You can go through kind of the new user guide if you're a new agent, or maybe you just want to go and get a refresher. The help center that's listed here is that faq.healthsherpa.com that I mentioned. And I will tell you, I access it more every day than probably any other website, just because I know what I'm talking about, but I want to make sure I'm right. And so I love having that up in the background. The agent training section, again, will direct you over to a page on faq.healthsherpa.com. But within that, it'll show you the webinar options, things that are live and upcoming to register for. And it's really a great place to check out. So if you haven't registered or attended a webinar with also named Amber, but Amber Blank on the HealthSherpa team, it's incredible, and I totally recommend you guys do that. But if you have questions, outside of that a webinar or the FAQs aren't really answering, you can contact the HealthSherpa agent support team. They take emails. You can call in via phone. They have a chat option. So they are saving grace sometimes. Super helpful. And then in addition to just these resources we've got here, you do get email updates from us on occasion with different product launches and features that are coming out. We've got our agent newsletter. So we do work to keep you guys as up to date on anything coming down the pipeline as possible. So thank you for putting up with all of the updates and asking questions, and making things better for everybody. So with that, questions. So common agent questions, I just want to make sure everybody knows. And again, if there's anything that comes to mind that's not on this list, throw it in the chat. I've got a slide deck. I've got things that I'm here to show you guys and talk about, but it may not be what you need an answer on. So if anything comes to mind, throw it in the chat and we'll get it answered. But how do I upload follow-up documents? There's an FAQ for that. Can I access a list of acceptable documents to satisfy those ZMIs? Absolutely. We'll get this slide deck shared with you guys so that you can access these direct links. But again, faq.healthsherpa.com is where everything lands. So I'll pause. I did a lot of talking. I just want to make sure no questions on that so far before we get into kind of the the live portion. And I'll pause for a moment and take a sip of water while I.
Yeah, Amber, not seeing anything. So when you're set, just keep going.
I do want to point out, it might not be known to a lot of agents, but there's just a lot of shady activity going on, and sometimes the agents find out about it, 2-3 weeks after the fact that, whoa, this client was snapped up and is now, with some agent somewhere, completely unrelated. This stuff is happening, okay? And, this is why there's been a greater effort to enforce the rules about consent forms. And Sherpa's done a great job giving us access into these, unauthorized agents, and you being able to look up that feature in the invalid action area, and we can walk you through that. We can help you with that. We're always working on these things. So that's my 2 cents on that matter. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, totally. To that point, like sometimes agents unfortunately aren't doing what they should be. Sometimes it's oh God, like I keep getting phone calls. I answered the phone. Someone talked to me. I made an application kind of change, not realizing it. You as the agent with kind of the tools that I talked about and that I'll show you a little bit more in a minute, you can be more proactive in kind of detecting those things, seeing what's going on, kind of catching it. Maybe it's a trend and, you can report it to CMS or your agency or HealthSherpa or what have you and kind of get that handled. Or you look and things look good and you don't have to kind of do anything with those follow-ups. That's ideal too. But our goal at HealthSherpa is to just make sure that you are as aware and as able to help service your customers the right way as soon as possible. So we'll look at those reports a little bit more in depth here in a moment. But just point at home with the support option. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. If you catch HealthSherpa in person at any events in the future, it's really great that we've got these little stickers now. I've got a sticker, as you can kind of see, with this information right here because I personally use agent support pretty regularly too. And that's impressive if you ask me. So from there, again, platform overview. So if you'll bear with me for one moment while I move on over to the platform. And again, totally get that we've got veteran agents that have used HealthSherpa forever, and maybe some agents that are a little bit newer. So please, if you have questions while I'm going through anything, throw it in the chat so that we can make sure you're with us, you know what's going on, and your questions are answered. So I've got my screen back up. I'm gonna guess everyone can see it. I'm gonna hope that everyone can see it again. If someone, sounds like yes.
Great.
Thank you. Perfect. So welcome to HealthSherpa for Agents.com, right? So this page may not look exactly the same as yours. You may have different options on the left-hand side here. I am in our staging account. So obviously Wonder Woman is not an agent. Maybe she is, but not in this instance. This is just kind of a sandbox environment so that I can show you guys things without revealing PII or messing up any agent settings or anything like that. So when you log in to your HealthSherpa for Agents account, you've got the option to kind of choose what page you land on, whether that's going to be this home page here or your client's page here. And we'll kind of click between and show you some fun things throughout, but excellent timing. With this pop-up here, integrate your FFM account. So again, CMS requires you do that every 12 hours. I'm in our staging account right now. I don't have it integrated, and that's okay. But as an agent, when you're talking to clients, you're going to want to make sure that you do that regularly. But hopping into the client's page, this is what you will land on automatically every time that you log in to your HealthSherpa account, unless if I go back to the home page and close out my FFM notification again, you see we've got the option in the top right to make this your default homepage. So if you click that when you log in, you'll come here first. One of just the fun things about coming to this page right away is you'll have notifications on here anytime there's a new product release. We've got kind of the FFM integration timer down here. You can access different areas of your HealthSherpa for Agents account right from here. We upload different videos from, our training webinars. We've got a bunch of those additional resources and FAQs down here. You can immediately click into chat. You can immediately click into an email. So that way you've got just a lot of support options on this main page. So going back to just some of the things that we went over in the beginning today is those important settings. So again, enabling EDE is number one. You'll see that again when you integrate with the marketplace, you'll get that pop up. You want to make sure that you've enabled EDE so that you can quote, sell, and get those updated statuses from CMS. The second one is our Enrollee Assistant Program. And so I'm just going to go up here to the top right corner, this little gear icon. Within that is the option to see carriers. So if I click into the carrier settings page, and I again close out my FFM notification, you will see a few things. And it may not look exactly the same as mine, especially if you're a new agent and you haven't added your states yet. If you've got the Enrollee Assistance Program turned on, it will say that you've got it turned on. And from there, you would kind of update your carriers. Now, that sounds simple when I say it like that. Of course, it is a little bit more in depth than that. We'll go through a little bit of this today. But again, I'm just going to hammer home the faq.healthsherpa.com thing. And you don't even have to remember that if you come up to this little icon here and you click support, because clicking that up, it's going to take me to our support page. But if I want to do even better than that, and I click the little question mark next to it, it's got Help Center. And it's thrown me into another page, and I'm not going to mess up the screen share completely, but faq.healthsherpa.com. So we'll pivot to that one here in a minute. But within the carriers page, closing out my FFM pop-up again, you can see all of your licensed states in here. You can add them at any time. So if I just got licensed in another state, I can kind of go in and I'm going to add that. From there, it'll look like this once you've added that state. As you get appointments in that state, you would come in and edit, and they'll kind of populate any available carriers in the state that you're licensed in. So from there, if you have turned on your EAP program settings, you will have a different section within each of these tiles. So how it says, are you appointed? Yes, no. You flip that on regarding your actual personal agent appointment. And then there would be another kind of section right here with two buttons that say turn on for EAP. And you can choose to toggle on and off. Now, if I'm appointed with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama and I've enabled my EAP settings, I'm not really going to want to turn on EAP for Alabama because I'm appointed, because I can get paid commissions directly from the carrier. Now, let's say I am not appointed with Amber of Alabama right now, but I'd like to, have that option for my consumers to enroll, whether it's with me directly or through that marketing link I talked about that we'll look at a little bit more. I'm going to flip it on. That way they can enroll. I'll get kind of some compensation, maybe not the commission that the carrier would pay, but the compensation through our EAP program for having that turned on and enrolling through that. And again, this will go for every state that you add in here. The only exception to that is North Carolina and Wisconsin right now. We don't have turned on, but you'll see that within EAP settings. And I want to make sure that everybody knows it is a big kind of long explanation here of EAP. And I would say it's important to review this terms and settings in here, but this right here being our Enrollee Assistance Program kind of FAQ article is way more kind of, I would say, at like our level. It's not like a full legal document. This gives you kind of the understanding that you need that makes sense to you on how it works. So when you come back to kind of just review the terms of it, it makes sense. So I would say don't start here, start on the FAQ doc to learn more about that. And again, if any questions while I'm talking, throw them in the chat. I want to make sure everybody's on the
Amber,
same.
I had a comment I wanted to make about the EAP.
Yeah.
Think of it as the referral program. It's probably, easier to kind of wrap your head around. And, you'll be setting up, through that agreement, you'll be setting up, the permission to have commission sent to you, and it's through bill.com, okay? So you might have to set up an account with bill.com, right, Amber? And then in addition to that, keep in mind the payee is something called geo-zoning. So it's not going to say HealthSherpa. So, you might have somebody from your, finance or commissions department saying, well, what is this geo-zoning? That's the EAP. That's the referral. So I had a lot of calls on that. And don't be alarmed. It's legit.
I think we got you set up on that JMA. So I think that that axes this. I do not think that is the case, but I don't.
Forgive me.
We just when we went through the getting you guys set up on that JMA, that changed the payout. I think it goes to Cornerstone.
Oh, definitely, it does. It does. Yes, it does. But it still comes from geo-zoning as the entity, because that's who you're affiliated with. Correct. That's our kind of parent DBA. I just mean I think we're all not individuals, but I'll confirm. Yeah. But yes, if you ever flexible about how geo-zoning, you get that set up. That is us. Geo-zoning is that's us. You. Perfect. Yeah. So again, with EAP, it has its own webinar, right? So it's new. It's a little complex. I'm not going to be able to do the program complete justice right now. I do recommend just 100% reading that FAQ article or going and sitting through the training. There'll be a live one coming up, but there are recorded ones as well on the FAQ.healthsherpa.com section. And if you have any questions on that, once you've read through or watched the webinar, agent support can totally walk you through it. I think I asked like 57 questions before it really stuck for me. But it is a super helpful program. Okay, just looking at a question. So if I am not contracted with a carrier in the state I am licensed in, does the consumer have to complete the app, or can I do it and select that carrier? Great question. So that is kind of the way that EAP is kind of set up. So there are two different service models. And again, it's a little complex for me to get the full picture right now. But with that, you as the agent, even though you may not be appointed with that carrier, can still complete that application. It'll end up having HealthSherpa's NPN on it. But if you're going through and working with a customer and it comes down to the choice being, a plan or carrier that you're not appointed with, but you have EAP turned on, you can absolutely go through and do the application. If you use your marketing link and you send that to someone and they end up kind of going through and selecting a carrier, same thing. They can complete it, no problem, on their own as well. So I think that'll answer your question, Diane. If it doesn't, okay, perfect. Yeah. So that is, again, EAP, Jeff mentioned, and it's definitely similar to our old referral program. It's just updated with kind of two pathways. So I really do recommend checking out that webinar, that help article, because there's more to it than I'll be able to kind of throw at you right now. But that, again, in a nutshell, is EAP. It's just a great option to have turned on to get some compensation for helping consumers when you may not be kind of appointed in that area. And again, that's under kind of the little section up here with carriers. So you'll activate, kind of turn on the program, and then you'll go through the different states. And again, when you come down and you click edit, it's only going to show you
within that state, the carriers available in that state. So if, you're appointed with 3 of them, you'll turn on yes, appointed for those 3. And then alternatively, all of the other carriers, you can flip on yes for EAP. So moving on to the next kind of important setting that I mentioned, and we've talked a little bit about, is your marketing link. So on the left-hand side here, if you hop in to marketing, it kind of takes you just to the info page off the bat, lets you know what this is. So again, it's a link unique to you, associated with your HealthSherpa account, your NPN, your name. You send it out there, kind of mom sends it to cousin, sends it to neighbor. Still you as agent of record. So anytime someone kind of initiates an application, if they go through to the point where they put their name and phone number in and their email, you'll kind of get an email notification. And in this leads kind of section here, we'll look at later, their information will pop up until they submit an application. So let's say, you share it with someone and they initiate filling it out and then they kind of stop. They're not a submitted application. They're not necessarily a client, but you will see them in your leads list. So again, custom to you. And you can see them in your leads list. You can track their progress so that you can maybe call out, help them, reach out, depending. It's just a great kind of option to have a self-enroll link that kind of includes the consent features. If you're really into tracking your sources and where you get these people from, if you're doing any kind of marketing, you can set up parameters to just track like marketing campaigns. It's a little in depth, and not a ton of agents do that, but it is an option. Once you do that, you'll have different marketing links so that you can track where leads are coming from. But let's just say that's a little bit too much. I don't need to do all that. I just want my marketing link to be able to share so that people can quote and enroll on their own. You don't have to do anything off the bat. Automatically at the bottom of the page here, you've got your marketing link. So in theory, if I sent this out to someone, they would go directly to Wonder Woman's page. They'd be able to put in their zip code, kind of quote from there. You've also next to it right there got that QR code, so you can put it on a sticker if that makes you happy. But the 2 things that you should do before you share out this marketing or self-enroll link is 1, make sure your carrier settings are up to date. Make sure any appointments you have been added there. And then relating to the EAP, making sure that if you've opted in, you've got it turned on, you've got it set up correctly, because it'll automatically apply to any application submitted through your marketing link. So that's the first thing that you want to do. The second thing that you want to do, if you're like me, is branding, right? So coming to this little second tab here, you can customize that page a little bit to make it, more you. You can add colors. You can make sure the right phone number and extension is in here. You can have a photo, of your dog or Cornerstone's agency logo. So this is just 2 other little pieces that I would say are important. You can change the color if you want it to be purple, what have you. But making sure that, it's yours, it's clearly branded is important. And then again, we've got analytics tools if you go down that path and you want to just get super serious about all of the little tracking mechanisms on the back end there. Moving from there, again, I mentioned you can kind of track progress anytime someone utilizes your marketing link. So we'll hop over to the leads tab here. And again, leads are not submitted applications. It's if you as an agent enter some information, you don't submit the application, that person will be in your leads section. Same thing if they use your marketing link, they go through, they enter some application, they don't submit it, they're in your leads kind of section. And so once they've started kind of inputting additional information around a plan, income, that'll kind of populate here. But clicking into it, you can kind of see all details that are kind of here. Now, let's say you're working with this person, they're in leads because they haven't submitted an application yet, but you're getting close to it. You can proactively come in and upload consent. You can proactively update their information when you hit, resume shopping, and it'll kind of take you right back into the quoting page that you're used to. household profile. You'll be able to see anybody that you've added onto that household within the application view. Notes. These are all to you guys. If you want to, remind yourself of something in here so that when you come back later and you talk to them, you can do that. You can add notes so that you know what's going on. But once you've gone through, the shopping, plan selection, all of that, these individuals would move from leads to clients. So they would be an active application that you can view in your clients page. Super helpful from there. So moving on to the clients page, we talked a bit about those insights that you have the ability to kind of report out on. So again, I mentioned early on, your page, your login may not look exactly the same as mine, and that's going to partially be because you should have on the left-hand side here another little section that says exports. Everything that I'm going to show you here, you can do in exports except renewals. So 5 insight options that we can look at are the AOR at risk, those documents due, which is your DMI follow-ups, EDE access revoked, invalid action error. All 4 of those should be in your export tab. The 5th one we'll look at as renewals may not be. Now, again, this is staging kind of a test account. There's not a ton of information in here. If you have more than one test account, you would obviously see more than I would. So going through, you can click at risk AOR. I don't have clients that are at risk in my kind of staging account here, but the benefit of this is you can kind of look, quick view, and see who it is, what their federal exchange ID is, and that is associated with like their application, their last synced on, and their last submitted on. So that tells you a little bit of a story right there. When did I submit this? Okay, well, it wasn't that date. It wasn't synced on that date. That lets you proactively see what's going on with that client, make sure that they're good, they don't have another agent. And again, it could be, unfortunately, some nefarious other agent. Sometimes it's, oh god, I've been getting 50 phone calls this week, I entered my phone number in for health insurance, I talked to somebody else, like I didn't know it was going to make a change. Just giving you the ability as the agent to reach out and see what's going on.
Quick question, Amber. If you're in an agency and you have admin access, you're a certified agent, but you're acting as the admin for 10 brokers within that agency, will you have this kind of dashboard view of the other downlines?
Yeah. So as an admin, you can see everybody under you, and you'll have a little different access. So like when you log in, you will have all of this and a little bit more, because it's an overview. Excellent. Yeah. And I can send you some stuff on that too. But when you go in, you'll have all of the kind of same things. It just may be in a different place. You have an agency tab, so that may be where that is. But yeah, same thing for you. Perfect. And again, if anybody has any questions, thoughts, comments, throw it in the chat. I just want to make sure everybody understands and is good today. But that is the at-risk AOR. So it may not tell you everything, but it gives you an idea of what has happened. And maybe Jane Smith that I was talking to was going to work with a different agent. I don't need to worry about that. But a name pops up and you're like, oh, Barbara, I wasn't expecting Barbara to, be with the new agent. Let me call Barbara, figure out what's going on, rectify it, proactively, instead of, oh, this happened 3 weeks ago. Oh, man. So that's that one. The next one that we talked a little bit about earlier is documents due. And again, if you have anybody that has a DMI that is coming up, you'll see that here. And the fun part about this is it gives you an idea of what the document is and what the deadline is right here. Obviously, clicking into the client details card from there will tell you more. And I'm just pulling up a little something helpful to show you what it might look like. Perfect. So as an example, like Wonder Woman here, it tells you outstanding docs, 3. It gives you the status, action needed, earliest deadline, 3/14, last sync, 2/14. So this means I've got to get it in by 3/14. I don't know which doc it is. So if you click into Wonder Woman's name there, you would get more information, but just a quick look tells me ooh, okay, she's got something due 3/14. This hasn't been synced since 2/14 though, hasn't been uploaded. So clicking into kind of her profile from there would allow you to refresh it. There'll be different statuses on this page. So obviously you see like this one being action needed, but coming back to just like the main tab, if you have multiple individuals on here, each row obviously is a different client, and it will just tell you, again, if it's one, if it's two, what the status is, the timeline around where, things are due, so that you can make sure that you get a hold of those in a timely fashion. And I think that's just really helpful to be able, again, to see things proactively. Same thing with kind of our EDE access revoked. I don't have information in here because nobody's revoked Wonder Woman's EDE. But again, all of the thought behind these is to empower you as the agent in, a reasonable time frame, quickly, proactively, to see anything that may look fuzzy so that you can reach out to those clients and fix it as soon as possible. So same thing with the invalid action error. So anybody that has encountered this that may need assistance, you can come in, make sure, oh man, I got to see where Deborah, fell off. I don't know why she didn't submit her application. So it gives you kind of a status on that. And then the one on here that I mentioned that is not necessarily an export, but renewals. We are working on making this a way better, more helpful feature for you guys, especially with just changes coming down the pipeline regarding renewals. Coming in here though, you'll be able to see just different statuses. So actively renewed, that means that you've already talked to them, you've already worked with them, you've already handled them. Action recommended, in theory, come OEP, they'll renew on their own, but maybe it's better for me to contact them proactively, make sure that they want to stay in the same plan, make sure they don't have any life changes, things like that. And then action needed, they're not going to renew at all. Maybe that plan is no longer going to be available. A few different reasons that'll come up, but you can kind of see that here when they populate, and you can look at different kind of filters. So if I only want to see action needed, I can do that here. If I want to see renewal factors, so again, carrier change, or they, went in and electively turned off auto renewal. It just gives you an idea of what's going on with your book, and that's helpful. Again, just instead of having to go and click into each client and see what's going on with them, this gives you kind of the 50,000 foot view of upcoming kind of things that you should focus on. So super duper recommended that, you guys are able to take the time and get in there and see what's going on with those clients, just to make sure they're good, kosher, and they stay on the book. From there, I'm going to go back to kind of the left-hand side here, and I'm going to hit this consent tab. So this is pretty new as I close out my FFM integration. It's a pretty new feature that we've added for you guys because consent is just continuing to be included in different ways and more integral to the process of selling ACA. And so we want to make sure that you guys have everything that you need around consent. And so this kind of consent library gives you a place to store consent for all clients. Come back in, update it at another time. If you have new consent that is not on, an existing application, you can collect new consent immediately. What kind of consent is this? Oh, okay, it's just the first consent because, it's new consent. How do I want to collect it? Is it via email? Do I want to send it to someone? Or, do I have a file? So it's also kind of a file storage so that, you're able to keep everything in one place. And again, it's kind of a new feature, but going in here, you guys have more clients than Wonder Woman, of course, and you probably integrated your FFM account, so you don't have this pop-up. But this way it shows you kind of everything that's going on, all of the uploads that are in there, and lets you just track consent and not have to worry about it. With that, any other questions at all? Any areas that I can kind of go deeper in? I want to, again, make sure everything is covered.
Maybe just do a quick walkthrough on the enrollment process.
Totally.
We might have some folks out there for this. it's brand new. You know, they may have just entered the industry. So you do a quick quote.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, if that is the case and you are brand new, welcome. I love that. It is a fun industry to get into and a lot to learn. So to Jeff's point, from kind of the homepage here, we've got options. Do I click quote on X? Do I click run quote? Do I click start application?
Quick,
Yeah.
quote on X.
Yeah.
Zip code 44101.
Let's do it. 44101.
And one person household, age 35, 45,000 for income.
Let's do it.
Non-tobacco.
Non-tobacco. Let's do it. And so the fun part about this is and I don't know if you've noticed this, Jeff, but when you come in through this quoting and how you click quote on, it like updates every time you enter information. So you can see the live changes. Right. One individual. Do we want anything else on here?
No.
Amazing. All right. So if you want to leave this open while quoting, you can. You can hit close and just move down to plan results.
There you go.
So this is what you will come to. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
It makes you dangerous. You wouldn't believe it. How many times I'm out, with family or friends. Maybe you're at a bar or you're at, a baseball game or, lacrosse. A lot of lacrosse players out there these days. And you're talking to folks, parents and whatnot, and the topic of insurance comes up. Oh, hey, my son, my daughter, a grandson, somebody needs insurance, and what does it cost? And you can just do it right there. Your phone app, or not, it's not a phone app, but your phone ability is really good. So I want to point that out. You have the same functionality on your phone.
Totally. And you know what? While you make that point, so this is your view as an agent. But again, when I was going through your marketing link section on your page and it popped up that QR code, I'm gonna take my phone just to kind of drive the point home to like what Jeff's saying is you're at soccer, whatever, someone has, questions around insurance, what have you. It's obviously not going to work for me right now, but let's just say like that happens. You can go in and quote yourself, but maybe you just have like a screenshot of that QR code on your phone. Maybe you have like
make a t-shirt. Just walk around with your QR code on a t-shirt.
Exactly.
Or, I'm thinking maybe a tattoo on my forehead, but Brad talked me out of it. But,
see, I got mine removed, so I wouldn't recommend it,
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But it's an option. It's definitely an option.
Yeah. A walking billboard.
Exactly. So
better yet, put it on a business card. Hand them your business card and the QR code.
So it's funny that you say
you're
that.
So traditional.
That's well, because he's a little traditional, but here's what I did at one point, right? I had business. I went out of my way, and I think I sent it to like Kinko's or Staples or something. I had stickers printed of the QR code, and I stuck some on the back of my business card. Sometimes I stuck it on other stuff. So it's not wrong. You can put it on a t-shirt, you can put it on a business card, you can put it on a backpack, you can put it on a sticker. But that's the joy of the QR code is same thing with the link. Scanning that QR code or sharing that link will take someone to this page for consumers. It's still associated with you. They can shop plans all they want. You'll get that notification and they'll pop into the lead section once they enter their information. They may carry out the whole application. Maybe they look in and for whatever reason, they're like, okay, this is perfect. This is the plan that I want. They can just completely enroll in it by themselves. Now, they may have questions. That's where you come in, agent of record. They do have the same ability though to say like, okay, well, this one looks kind of good. Like, oh, maybe this one too. I'm not sure. They can compare plans on their own. They have the same kind of view that you do, just as kind of a self-enroll. So it's super, super great that way.
Amber, can you show the brokers on the call, like the slide bars, how to adapt the premium max, the total deductible, maybe some of those features for those that are new and haven't used it?
Absolutely. So again, if you come through this way, this pops up, it's big. I'm going to close it. I don't need it. But remember right now we've got an individual 45 making $45,000 a year in zip code 44101. So coming down here, I'm going to remove the plans that I've selected to compare. But let's say I'm talking to this customer, doing my needs analysis. And okay, what's the maximum monthly premium that you can afford? Knowing, what subsidy they may be eligible for. Okay, $237 a month's your estimated savings. What can you afford additionally? $300? Okay, so maybe I'll come down here and say, I'm going to put the max right at $537, right? That says, in theory, right, you won't until you get to the end of the application, but max, they can afford $300 a month. I can move it that way. Okay, you say your max deductible that you want at all to be $2,500, right? So like, let's just get close to it. That way you can filter what you're looking at. And if you watch this number right here that says 35 plans, as I move the bar, it's going to change the number of plans that meet the criteria that I have here, right? And it's the same thing as you go and if you add those providers, okay, you really want to make sure that so-and-so's in network. You add them in here. You can do that to a point where you'll still see plans that doctor may not accept, but once you enter a provider's name or a drug that they need to take, you'll have a checkbox to say, only show me plans that include that. So that's another filter that you can see. Now, let's say I had a really bad experience with Antidote Health Plan. I don't want Antidote at all. I can come in and just click everybody else to make sure that I'm filtering out Antidote. I don't want to look at it at all because my consumer has indicated they have no interest in even hearing about those plans. Okay, you want a silver or a gold. So again, the more things that I click, it filters more and more plans out so that I am only looking at plans that meet my customer's kind of initial criteria. So that way you spend less time kind of maybe looking at things that don't meet their needs. And then from there, okay, this one and this one. Now I'm comparing plans that are more what my customer is looking for. So I can kind of look from here, okay, this one's, a pretty solid deductible. Rating's not bad. Primary care copay, specialist, all of those fun things. My customer has more kind of questions for me that are a little bit more in depth that aren't displayed here. It's great because from there, I can come down here and I can look at the summary of benefits of this plan and I can see, if I share that screen, way more specific information. That's awesome. Now I can kind of make sure that this is the plan that my customer needs. Okay, yeah, this is how diagnostic tests would be covered under this plan. That works for you? Perfect. So going back to just the comparison, you can kind of continue to go back and forth. Oh, none of these work. Like, let's go back. Let's look for something else. You can add up to 5 plans, which is great for you as the agent. But what I will say is once you're comparing plans, maybe they're, they still have questions, what have you. You do have the option up here to hit share. I would recommend sending a max of 3 plans to a consumer when you do that, because I mean, if you send me 5 plans and I don't know what I'm looking at, like that's overwhelming. So like work with them, narrow it down. And that's why sometimes, you share out that marketing link, or you're Brad and you have a, QR code on your business card or your shirt. Maybe you're Jeff and it's tattooed on your forehead. I don't know. They get to a point where they're confused. This is so many options. I don't know what to do. Go to your leads list. They're going to be in there. But yeah, it's super great to be able to share out these plans. You can kind of send it to who you want. You can update their email. Oh, I just want to send it to them in an email. You can copy it and send it to them that way. But really great just comparing plans here with those filters. Again, you've decided what you want. We want Buckeye, Community Health, Clear, Gold. You'll add that to your cart. You can keep shopping, around. You can look. Maybe they want, some Offx dental. You can add that too. You can go start the application. If I keep shopping, I can go back. Oh, maybe there's dental available. Let's look at that. You can compare those as well. Let's just say that our single 45-year-old female wants to just kind of continue with the Clear Gold Buckeye. You can come up to your cart and you just start the application from here. And smooth, easy to go through. You can just add all sorts of fun things, to test through. And I want to make sure I look at the chat also. Oop, I missed this earlier. I'm sorry, Diane. Is there a way to change the pending initial consent if you received it on your own? Going back to that page that we were looking at, if you have a customer in there already with consent, you can add or update different consent. That button was just because I was like creating for the first time that record, but you can add future kind of consent docs in there if that makes sense. If that doesn't answer your question, please let me know. Lenny says, I found that providers are not always accurate. Any tips? Unfortunately, Lenny, we have found the same. The problem with that is it's kind of up to the provider's discretion. So we get updated feeds as often as possible from carriers on their networks. But if my name is Dr. John Smith and I've decided I no longer want to take Aetna today, how long is it going to take Aetna to update their network kind of thing? We're working as hard as we can with the carriers and the networks to make sure that we've got it as up to date as possible. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect science because people are people. It's my recommendation to just always have them, the client verify with that provider's office that they're still in network with that plan. Usually you can
Amber,
check on. Go ahead.
You guys have a really nice tool. You have links to the various carrier-specific provider lookups, the proprietary carrier catalogs that are the most recent. So that's kind of the best practice there. You can't really rely on the wizards that healthcare.gov and HealthSherpa have, asked the carriers to update, but the carriers themselves, the actual PDF of their, provider directory is out there too, and that's the best practice to use that.
Even better is to go to their consumer site and just look, because the website, as a former carrier rep, is always going to be the most accurate. So use that. PDFs are bad as soon as they're printed because somebody falls off or is added. So just go online. You all have the carrier websites. You all actually have access to the broker portals for each carrier. So use their network search there. That's Brad's recommendation. And other recommendation, when you're sending that link, send it from your own email, not HealthSherpa, right? They know who you are because they just talked to you. They may not know HealthSherpa. So make it more obvious for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Carry on, Amber.
Nope, you're good. I think we're hitting time, so I don't want to.
Just go over. Just finish. If people can stay on, they will. It's really great training. So.
Yeah, absolutely. This is my favorite part about doing an application on HealthSherpa is I put 45 and then I'm like, what year is that? Minus. So don't mind me doing math here.
1979.
Is it 79 if I had a birthday this year, allegedly?
Well, if it's January, yeah.
That's my deal.
She's
is this
right.
Ohio that we gave the zip code for? I'm going to go with yes.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, let's just go and see. I didn't do my FFM. I can pivot, though. Hold that thought. This is the joy of staging accounts and CMS making it really fun for us to test things, but that's okay. I've got this. 2 seconds. It's very anticlimactic. I apologize.
I'm going to answer a question while Amber's doing that. Jessica, so this is just a good way to do it in the future. You have a spouse that needs removed. I would always, if you've got, say in the case of maybe somebody's going on Medicare sooner than the other, always list the younger spouse as the primary. That way, their plan doesn't get affected when the older spouse, when you have to drop them off. That's one tip. Let me see. Yep, that's exactly the way to do it. She's also asking, any way to make sure the change is made on the correct day. So just remember to always end the month on the 30th or 31st of the month, not on the 1st of the month, because plans start on the 1st of the month and on the last day of the month, even on 28 or 29 in February. Hope that answers the question, Jeff, unless I'm missing it completely.
Yeah, they're trying to update the system. I don't know that Sherpa has completely updated it, but they're making it easier for you to term a subscriber as they go into Medicare. So,
yeah,
right, Amber?
Yeah. And that Medicare question page that I shared early on, for like existing applications that you may be talking about, Lenny, not gonna solve the problem, but for future applications with that page and the information that you input in there, it will take care of that, whether they are the primary or the spouse on there. It'll have it in the system. It'll be based on their date of birth. It'll remove them from the application correctly.
But it's only 90 days or under. So if somebody's aging off in 6 or 9 months, that's not going to be an option.
One day, the hope is to fix it.
Okay. Got it. Good.
This is attacking me. CMS really wants me to verify a lot of information right now. I apologize, guys. Alternatively, I can totally, I have a walkthrough that is recorded. I don't want to fight with CMS authentication live too long. I had it set for you guys earlier. But you guys tell me, would it be better to do the walkthrough video? I don't want to just make everybody sit here while I fight with this other page.
How about you show them where it is, Amber?
That
and maybe put the link in the chat box.
That I can do.
Or just what the picture is. That way it'll be easier and we don't consume much more of everybody's time, because you may have other things to show them that are easier to get to.
Sorry about that. Again, CMS.
Okay. No worries. I struggle with the same thing too when I'm trying to teach a new broker.
Fight me, especially when it's a test account. So
yeah.
With that, again, we're back into HealthSherpa login. So whether you utilize the home page here as kind of your landing page or the client's page, you'll see this test drive a demo of our application, and this will immediately kind of take you on just a tour of the application. So it isn't even really a video anymore. So maybe this will work. With this being a test drive, you just kind of kick off with the information that you have to put in. So who am I talking to? Great. Next up, where do you live? You'll fill out that information. Use your mailing address, same as permanent. Contact details, making sure all of this is correct. You want to make sure that it's right for them to receive emails, for you to have reference their phone number if you need to call them a later date. You can kind of update written or spoken language. We're working every day to add additional resources, specifically in Spanish. Hopefully expand that one day to more, but that you can note here. Household information, who's applying for coverage? Are you applying for cost savings? You can add spouse, you can add children on this page as well within the application. Are you married? Do you plan to file your federal income taxes? And again, these are older screenshots, but just assume that it says 2024 here for last year. Are you claiming dependents? All of those things. Again, tax information, super important on this as it relates to subsidies, to make sure all of that information is correct. Making sure that kind of the application questions around citizenship, incarceration, tobacco use are entered correctly. Then moving on to income. Again, subsidy, super important with income and taxes. Job, amount, again, estimated. The the fun part about income is there are always a lot of questions. What is income? What qualifies for income? What do I put on here? How do I know? I have to guess. Da 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 da. It's complicated, and we understand that. So you use your best guess. If you want more kind of details on that, my answer for everything today, I'm sorry, faq.healthsherpa.com. Type in the word income, send, and it'll give you kind of a list. What qualifies as, income? It helps you get an idea around what, to include in income. So going forward, ask just kind of those important questions on the application. You'll answer them honestly all the time. You'll do the application review just to make sure you've got all household members, whether they're applying or not, income, contact information. You have to, again, sign and submit. So I know I must tell the program all information I listed on this, is correct. Make sure everything's signed. We'll make sure everything's good. Continuing forward. You'll review eligibility and subsidy results. This comes straight from healthcare.gov. If you haven't selected a plan yet at this point, you'll do that next. But this way you can see eligibility results. You can download the eligibility file. You don't have to do that right now. You have access to do that later too. But from there, you'll enroll in the plan. And then you're done. So it'll kind of give you this pop-up that lets you know that it's been officially submitted to the marketplace. The flow and what is seen will look very similar for you as the agent. The same way it may look if an agent shares their marketing link out. So that way it'll have everything here. If there are anything, that they need to make sure that happens, pay your premium, verify your citizenship, verify your income. So that's kind of like the application walkthrough here. You can access that again on the homepage. It's in your client's page as well. You can kind of get deeper into it if you go to the Help Center, faq.healthsherpa.com. And again, the little mark here, Help Center, it pops you right over there. So let me make sure questions. Is there a way to, through the HS policy, to cancel entire policy mid-month, or you always have to cancel on the last day of the month? It's like 99% of the time going to be the last day of the month. ACA plans are not typically like prorated cancellations. So I would say no on that unless it's like a really interesting circumstance and you work with the marketplace for that one.
So is there a future term though, Amber? Can they future term it for the 31st of the month?
So when you cancel, like if I canceled a policy today that's currently active, it'll have, in theory, today's date on there, but the last date of coverage would be April 30th because It's not like end their coverage date.
Yeah.
So what I mean, like if you cancel 4/1 after your premium's been paid, in theory, you could potentially reach out right to the carrier for a refund because you may be in that window. But if you just cancel on 4/1, you're still going to be covered through 4/30. That's just the automatic way that it works. So that's that one. Let's see.
I just wanted to clarify. There's two more questions. It looks like.
Yeah. Once you're done with Marketplace, I've heard HealthSherpa has a Medicare platform. Can you talk about this briefly? Do you have to go through your FML? We do have a Medicare platform now. I will defer to Brad or Jeff. I don't know if you guys do Medicare over there. If you don't do Medicare over at Cornerstone, you are, in theory, can sign up as an individual agent.
I think everybody, all of your Medicare FMOs are making HealthSherpa available, or you've probably seen an email marketing piece or campaign from HealthSherpa to sign up for it. So you could do it either way, direct. The nice thing about using a link from an FMO or a GA like us is it allows us to see what you've got going on in case there's a problem that we might be able to help with or bring in somebody like Amber to get something resolved. So I think that helps Lenny. There's one more in there too, Amber, from William.
So William says, when you share a quote via email, assuming client can add a cart and self-enroll from that point if they choose, or do you recommend agent completing application? So in theory, from that point, if you share that with the consumer, they can complete it themselves. As you may know, being an agent, they can change things. Things can, get mixed around. They could end up talking to someone else. It's always, I would say, best to just be able to push it through, work with them, and make sure that it's submitted correctly with the right plan. But in theory, they can complete it themselves entirely once you share that with them. Yes.
But then you'll be responsible if they choose the wrong plan that doesn't have their doctors. So I know we all like to make money while we sleep, but do your job is the better thing and be a pro.
Yeah. That's the fun part is you select the plan, you discuss the plan with them, you send them the quote, and then you go and look 3 days later and they've enrolled in a different plan that isn't the same, that may be a different metal level, that doesn't have, X, Y, and Z. And who are they going to come back to when like something, like it's going to be you. And you'll be able to kind of look and see like, okay, well, you did this yourself, but here we are. So yeah, definitely recommend just kind of holding them, their hand through that process. And back to just the question on Medicare too. If you want to look, there's a little like introducing HealthSherpa for Medicare thing here. The sign up, it tells you information about it, but it is pretty new as well. But any other questions from the squad here?
Amber, while on the Medicare topic, does it pretty much, it operates, I gotta believe, the same way as it does for ACA with the carriers being on there? You have to set your carriers that you're appointed with.
It's a super similar use case, like just UI everything. That's kind of the goal. Is HealthSherpa is known for what we're known for. You log in to HealthSherpa, like you know how to use it. So we're trying to put that same kind of face on the Medicare platform. Obviously, there are different rules and regulations that like make things different between the two per CMS. But it should look and feel very much the HealthSherpa experience you're familiar with on the ACA side.
Good. That's cool.
Love it. Anybody else?
Does it do scope of appointments also, like we do consents for ACA?
Say that again?
Does it do scope of appointments also for Medicare like it does consents?
That's an excellent question that I will be totally honest with you and say I don't know the answer to. But the fun part is I'm going to find out the answer and tell you, and then we're both going to know.
Okay. Very good.
So stay tuned for that one.
It's a critical piece.
Everybody will get a copy of this presentation, too. Everybody gets that automatically. We'll try to include any follow-up information she provides in that follow-up email you get.
Jeff, is there anything else that you want Amber to show?
I think she did a fantastic job. And by all means, just let's keep the conversation going. If you have any questions on HealthSherpa, don't hesitate to give me a call. I'm willing to do a personal walkthrough for anybody, get you set up, walk you through, let you, play around in a sandbox environment as it is, and get you up and selling on America's #1 broker enrollment platform.
That is what I like to hear. And so the last thing that I'm going to share on my screen, it's my favorite page to share, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. And I know I told Jeff at one point, when we first met, but I joined the HealthSherpa team in August. Prior to that, I worked at an agency. I was a HealthSherpa user. So I know the benefits of the platform and all of the pain points that you guys go through. And so now I'm on the inside. So I'm going to try to effect change and make it better from the inside. But we wouldn't be able to do what we do without agents and agencies like you guys. So thanks for having me today and putting up with my stupid authentication with CMS not working. It's great.
We all deal with it every day. You're good. Amber, awesome. Not only are you knowledgeable, you're fun too. And we like fun, don't we, Jeff?
We love fun.
Yes, we love fun.
It's our middle name.
Yeah.
It's a gift from my employees at my last company, because all I am is chaos, but it's good chaos. I keep it coordinated. So I'm glad that you appreciate it.
Good.
Glad that you appreciate it.
Chaos.
All right. Amber, thanks again. Good seeing you. And we will see you again. I don't know if you're going to join Michael's call on Monday with us, but
I think I might. You might see me there.
Okay.
If not,
Cool.
See you next time.
Okay. You got it. All right.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you. All right.
Thanks,
See everybody. Thanks. Have a great rest of the week.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.